All right, hello and welcome to the Southbound Sports Show. I'm your host, Richie here with my co-host, Matty B. Another one of our summer series of shows. Hopefully this is the last one. I am feeling dead for whatever reason. My body's not able to keep up right now, so we'll see how long we go. But I finally found the Holy Grail. Going through my hard drive, I think I've been talking about going through all my old stuff. And I found a copy of Tecmo Super Bowl Ultra. The one that you could have your own franchise. It was kind of like, like Football Manager or something. There's like a soccer version. I think there is an American football version too, where it was the start of that. But instead of it just being a sim where you would have your players and it would automatically create it, you could actually play the games using Tecmo Super Bowl. And then it never got finished. But the roster editor was in there so that you could do like historic matchups, which was awesome. And I thought I had lost it forever because I think the Tecmo Bowl website, tecmobowl.org or something, I think it got discontinued. I think they just killed it a couple of years ago. I haven't been able to find information. And so I have a bunch of the old editor files that I never worked anything with, right? Because I think they always put the original Tecmo Bowl because that one didn't have the NFL licenses. I think you can actually play it on Switch if you have the online whatever pack. I think they have the NES version of that. The downside with that one is only 4 plays and you don't have all the teams. Where in Tecmo Super Bowl, there's a hack now to add in the new teams, Texans, Panthers, Jaguars that weren't in the original game. And there's probably one other one I'm missing. And then you have 8 plays, which added a little bit more strategy to it, right? Because I think in the first one, there were a couple of playbooks where 3 of the plays had different formations, so you could just memorize it and know what the opponent was going for, right? Even if you didn't pick the right play. And so I liked the flexibility of Tecmo Super Bowl Ultra, and I think they even had in the editor, you could create your own playbook, which is even better. And then they keep adding new plays. But my dream would be, obviously it's dead, would be that someone brings us back, and there's even a 3D NES emulator coming out where it pops up the pixels so it looks like your guy's running in 3D. And they didn't have it set up for Tecmo Super Bowl yet, and I was wonder what that would look like. Like a fake version. Someone did a fake version called Retro Bowl or something on the iPad. So you could still play a kind of version where you're paying players. But the purist in me would have loved if the NFL had worked out some type of side deal with Tecmo, or I don't even know who owns it now, to just bring it back so that we just didn't have a Madden version of the game. Because it's tough to jump into Madden. You don't play Madden for a couple of months, then you hop in against someone that plays all the time. You're at a disadvantage just because of how complex the controls can be, right? You're I had an interception, I hit the wrong button, right? I didn't know how to make my guy jump and turn at the same time. Where Tecmo Bowl, you have 2 buttons, dude. Tecmo Super Bowl, 2 buttons. You're either good or you're not. And so I wish the NFL would kind of bring back other options instead of just having Madden. But some sports like NHL, you can't even play on computers still. The new NCAA football, you can't play on the computer still, which I'm kind of surprised by because the PlayStation 5 hasn't sold a ton of console copies like a PS4 would have, or the Switch, and it's not on either of those. And the Xbox hasn't sold that many console sales. And there's supposed to be a new Xbox handheld. I guess not supposed to be. It's already been announced. And so I'm surprised that they didn't have NCAA football come to that. Just because having a portable version where you could take it to a buddy's house and plug in and play co-op or against each other, old school style, I think to me that's what's missing from these new games. I don't care about the trading card stuff. That's kind of what turned me off, having the new version. I keep hearing things are updated now. They have new songs on it and blah, blah, blah. But is it really that much different than the previous year? I've never seen a new Madden come out every time they hype it up where it's drastically different. And the videos I've seen of people doing reveals and gameplay from the new game, I haven't seen enough to make that jump back in. What do you think?
Yeah, that was kind of my thoughts too. Is that I was happy that they had the release last year, and mentally I was trying to figure out a way to justify it, and I just didn't see enough within the supposed changes that they were making that would have offset the having to buy another game right now. Not to say that I think with each version it's going to get better. I think they're working through some of the certain bugs and gameplay stuff to try to. Yeah, I applaud that they went a different route than Madden, but I think when you're trying to start from square one and build it differently, there's going to be obviously bugs that you have to work through, and over time I think it'll get better, and I think they're going to get more stuff into it as we see some of the NIL and transfer portal type stuff continue to evolve. I think it'll make for a different style game.
That's why I was surprised that they didn't push it for the Switch 2, because it would have been the perfect time. There's not a lot of exclusive games that came out for the Switch 2, and they're releasing Madden for it. So obviously it has the same, like it has powerful enough to run Madden. It can run NCAA football. And I think that would have been a smash hit because Switch 2's been selling like hotcakes. There's not a lot of exclusive games in the United States, really. I think it was just Mario Kart and then Donkey Kong's coming out. You get NCAA football in there. That, to me, that would have justified it if you can get it for a different console. One, like, I guess what my thing I keep bringing up is taking it with you. Having a portable copy, to me, is like you have a better chance of me playing it. Like if you have like kids and things, they're taking it to like their friend's house or whatever, you get more out of it than just having one where you have to be connected online. And maybe that's why they didn't make the jump. Because they did have a lot of online features last year that were kind of fun, like that climbing the ladder thing or whatever, where to get you outside of your box of like, okay, you have to play as what was it, 3-star teams, or where they had like different star teams. I think I was playing as like Texas Tech. But knowing this year, as if you play as a certain team, they get NIL money, there's zero chance I wouldn't play as anyone other than Michigan then. Right? Like I don't know what the point, because a lot of people are saying like, oh, wait till like some small school starts getting a ton of NIL from people always playing as them. You're going to have guys that though they're like, well, if I play as so-and-so team, I could actually just be helping my team out. I'm just going to play as them. They might say they play as like the small schools, but I don't know how they're splitting it up, because like if you're not playing online, then does it really matter? Or like is it tied to like that trading card mode where you have to pay money? I don't know. Because it could just be that. I doubt if you're playing offline franchise, every time you play it, they're giving money to your team. Like that doesn't make any sense at all. I assume they mean the online modes.
Yeah, that's what I would think too.
So I'll wait and see. It's eventually going to come to Game Pass. They have that deal with EA. Last year's came to it. It might be a while, but again, it's tiresome. It's like people that tell me, oh yeah, you need to start like collecting so-and-so, like this trading card game, or like play Pokemon cards or something. It's like, dude, every year they release a new set and then what you have becomes obsolete. That's how NCAA is. Like if you put time into your trading card game last year, this new game comes out, you have to start all over again. And I'm just not into video games that much to be doing a cycle every year of collecting cards or doing whatever.
Although if you are a diehard, I think it helps to get that early deluxe package and get some of those better trading card guys right off the bat.
Yeah, it is an advantage. If you wait too long, you're behind. Like I played hard, last year for like 2 months, 3 months, took some time off and came back, and it was clear that I missed people discovering like bugs for like quick catches and like hot routes and stuff, where it's like, all right, I can pick up what these guys are doing and I can mimic it. But if you hop into an online game then and you're like, oh, I'm getting cheesed right now. Like, this guy is undercutting every route. Like, his guy's just throwing like a laser to the ground, but he's able to take control of his receiver and do like that juke grab. And then it was like I couldn't keep, like, it would give him a little bit of a burst to like break free of my guy. And then same with the defenders, which they said they took out of the game. Because early in the year, like when the game first came out, I was actually really impressed with how you could accurately throw a deep pass. 3 months later, there was that glitch where the defender could intercept any pass that was deep because he could turn and jump at the same time, and he didn't have to look. And so this year, they put a statement out saying that they've patched that out of the game. Because I'm assuming people like me, I mean, that's what made me stop playing. It's like I don't want to get into a game where I forget what game I was playing. It was like the online mode. I needed one more to get the last achievement, and like to that road to glory to like make the playoffs or whatever. And we each had thrown like 4 interceptions because we were both just doing the same glitch. And I thought, how is this even fun or realistic? Where he's throwing deep or he thinks he got me, and my guy can just make up insane amounts of ground and do an instant catch. Or like doing a reverse jump. And he's doing the same thing to me. And it's like, oh, I got him. And it's like, oh, never mind. I should never have thrown because I can't throw. And then I just started running the ball with my QB and running the timeout. And then it was like 10-7 or something. I won just enough to get that last achievement. And I was like, I'm done. I'm not even playing in the playoffs. I don't care. I'm not playing a game where it's like 10-7 is the final score. I missed 3 field goals and had 4 interceptions, right? Like that's basically what it came down to because with the lag, I still couldn't kick online.
But you should be used to that. That's Big Ten football. That's the style that you crave.
Not kicking, dog. Michigan has a lights-out kicker. It should be money. I wasn't even playing as them, though. I was playing as Texas Tech, so maybe they don't have good kickers over there. Could have been my part. And then I switched. I had to switch to a team with a running QB. I forget who I even played it. It was someone weird. I stayed with 3-star, though. But Texas Tech wasn't working for me. Their QB wasn't mobile, and once they started intercepting, I couldn't use the air raid style. So I forget which team I switched to. I probably talked about it on the show like a year ago. I'm not even going to take a guess of who it was. But I switched to a running team, and I ran like a modified Wildcat. That's how I got around that bug. I just quit throwing. Right? Like, you can't... Yeah, because like I got burnt one time, and then I was like, wait a second. I can do the same glitch as these guys. Let me just look up the button. And it was like, oh, you hit these 3 buttons, your guy will do an instant like jump, turn, and intercept at every pass. That's like not lasered in with like a 5-yard window. So the fact that they mentioned it as being like a fix kind of annoyed me because they could have fixed it last year, right? All they had to do was just remove that control from the game. And then maybe they didn't want the high scoring. I don't know. But they said they fixed it this year. I've heard that same thing from Madden. Just give it a few months, and then we'll see. I'll probably, when I turn into the game, they'll be like, I'll play a guy, and I'll just be getting cheesed the whole time. Like that one Madden where the dude kept throwing screens on me because there was like a thing where the defenders wouldn't go out there, but then I figured out you could just cornerback blitz, and he would intercept it. And then he didn't know what to do. He kept throwing them, and I was running the score up so bad, and I thought, why doesn't this guy quit? Why won't he quit? Why won't he stop throwing the screen? It's like his mind was broken. Like, oh my gosh, why isn't my screen working? It works every other game. So there's always going to be players like that probably look it up on YouTube, see a thing, whatever. But it's the off season. That's my update topic for the week. NCAA football is out. I saw some gameplay. Looks better. Could just be hype. Hasn't played it yet. Been digging into some old Tecmo Super Bowl. Wish that they had an update for that. And that was like the online thing. Because I think if you were playing an old school game that didn't have heavy graphics and stuff like NCAA, the lag wouldn't be there. And that's what I think drove. That's what really put me over the edge of not paying full price for the new game. Is at the end of the year last year, the lag was still there for kicking and doing basic things like that. Not so much noticeable running the ball. If they patched out some of the bugs, like that's going to be in every game. I'm not too worried about that. But when I can't make a field goal to like win before going to overtime, and I had to get, dude, like that game I was talking about, I had to get to like the 1 yard line to kick the game-winning field goal with no time left. Because I thought I could run it, he could blitz me, I might not get it, I'm going to kick the field goal, and if my guy misses this point-blank field goal, and it was still like nerve-wracking, right? So that's not fun. Because that's not realistic at any point where a guy can miss a 1 yard field goal by shanking it. So, I don't know. Had some comments on the show last week about World Cup. Guess what, buddy? I don't care. I mean, dude, how can you say that I'm wrong about the World Cup team? We haven't won anything. And just bringing up my points that make sense. Yeah, there's not enough kids in the United States playing soccer at a meaningful level. Our best athletes do not play soccer. I brought up the Premier League stuff with NBC. I don't see young kids waking up to watch Premier League, right? I'm around them. I'm a soccer coach myself, dude. So call me out. I talk to the kids. They don't watch any soccer. Like they might watch like a local team, or like down here in the Carolinas, like actually the women's team is probably the most popular team. And the kids probably don't watch that on TV, especially from what I've talked to them. They only play at recess or whatever. It's different. I know a ton of kids that watch football on TV because it's popular, right? Like I go up to the kid, what's your favorite soccer team? And they're naming like their high school team, which is fine, right? It's good to have local support. And I know some kids that like their favorite football team is their high school team, but you have that extra level where kids are like, oh no, I'm a huge Eagles fan, like whatever, NFL, like Hurts is awesome, Saquon is a beast. A couple of kids know like Ronaldo and Messi, and that's it. They don't know Pulisic. And no amount of, hey, us losing the Gold Cup doesn't matter, not that many people are playing on that team. If you can't win at a lower level, even with like you don't have the depth, then you're not going to win against the country's best. And I guess the only thing to do is wait and see. Because to me, success is making basically what equates to like the Final Four, right? Making the group stage is like what, the Sweet 16 or something in comparison to college sports. Like, yeah, it's a good year. Some teams would hang a banner for that. The United States probably would 100% hang a banner for making it out of the group stage. But win a couple games there. Like, that should be the expectation. Should it happen every time? Probably not. Like, you're not insane. Right? These same teams, like in college, like basketball, that have all the advantages, like Duke, they don't make the Final Four every year. It's hard. But that should be the expectation for the men's team. And I just don't think they'll do it. So you can be upset. Whatever. I don't care. At least you listen to the show, so we appreciate the support.
Yes.
Call in, dude. Call in. And tell us.
We've never claimed to be high level.
Call in and tell us what the men's team will do. Because like I said, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't make it out of the group stage.
Well, this is the equivalency for me. Like, my standard is so much higher for all of our sports. Because essentially, around the world, best athletes have come to our country. So when it comes to like basketball, we should dominate. When it comes to soccer, we should dominate. We have like the best of training and access to resources. We should crush everybody. It should just be like, who's coming in second because America's coming in first. And to get blown out the way that they do, it's embarrassing. So step your game up, USA men's soccer.
I'm looking to see where we're even ranked right now. It looks like they have Argentina number 1. And we're 15th, dude. 15th. Not even top 10. Like Belgium is number 8. Croatia, 10. We shouldn't be behind any of those countries. Morocco, 12. Nah. We have so many more people. Like Brazil, yeah, I understand. Maybe like Spain, France, Argentina, England, Germany, I get. Some of like the bigger countries that have had success. But like, come on. These smaller countries, we shouldn't be competing with them at any point. Not just in soccer, but like even like Matt said, basketball. Like for us to win the women's soccer is one thing. But to not even have guys that are the equivalent of near the best in their sport. Like they talk about Pulisic here, and I hate bringing him up. I'm not dogging him. But he's nowhere near like a Ronaldo or Messi or heck, even some of these other guys. So to have him as like our best guy, that's why I think I brought up Tiger Woods last time. We need like to have a Tiger Woods on our country where he's like the best in the world, and there's no reason why we shouldn't have an American that's like the best, like the LeBron James or whatever of soccer here on our team. We might not have the rest of the guys because they're playing football or whatever, but still, it's kind of like in baseball too. It's happening with Ohtani coming in, clearly being like the best guy. Where we've had guys come in, like Sosa came in right. I don't think he was American 100%. McGuire was there to offset him, right? There was always like an American guy. Barry Bonds, like randomly hanging out. And now you have guys coming in, and what's the American equivalent of that? Because I think there was a documentary I saw like a clip for where I think it was on Jim Abbott, right? He has like the one hand. And I think like he upset Cuba in one of those like back in the day United States like games, whatever. And Cuba was like heavily favored because they had all these beasts. It's like there's no reason why they would have better baseball players than us if we just put our best guys there. But for whatever reason, baseball has become a specialized sport, much like soccer, where to get the best competition, you have to travel. And yeah, even to a lesser extent, basketball, because I know the people travel for basketball. But some players still don't have to travel to get the basketball competition if you live in a bigger city, right? Like if you're playing the New York circuit, you probably don't have to travel to like, say, a different state. But like if you're from the north in baseball, you're going to have to travel probably to the south.
I think unless you're one of those fringe fans like we have been, where you'll find random obscure sports stuff to watch to occupy your time. Unless you have a team that is just outright dominant, there's nothing pulling you in to watch it. Like when the Summer Olympics roll around, people are watching like how bad is Phelps going to crush everyone in swimming. Like he came out positive for all that drug screening, but when it was time to do like any of the biking events, it was like Lance Armstrong. Let's see how fast he blows everybody away. Like those are sports that like you're normally not tuning in for, but because you have such high level competition or high level performances. I mean, even look at the WNBA now. Like for the most part, their attendance numbers have been down. But why are they up? Because you got people like Sophie Cunningham now that's drawing in viewers.
Yeah, not Caitlin Clark at all,
huh? Exactly. So you know, because you've been watching now. There's something entertaining there.
I still haven't watched one game because aren't they all on ESPN?
I think.
I'm still on my ESPN boycott. Not gonna lie. ESPN hasn't put one like definitive like pitch to me to watch any of their material. Right? Their coverage is clearly slanted against the Big Ten. And they're out there for like hot clicks or whatever for other sports. And their NFL stuff is lacking. like, I don't need to watch the Manning cast. And then Eli was trying to, like, look into buying the Giants. And he, like, was like, oh, it's too expensive for me. And it really would have put in, like, a conflict of interest on, like, basically his Manning cast type show, right? Is kind of what he insinuated. But is that too much? Like, I don't know. Right? Like, is that getting people to watch ESPN? Without having highlights and stuff, because I know they don't have all the rights, especially with social media, a lot of these leagues just put the rights on there. So ESPN, when I'm at a place, like at a work thing where they just casually have ESPN on all day, you see less and less highlights and just people yelling at each other. We could do that. I mean, it's basically what our podcast is. I don't care if people like it, right? Hang out, come on the show. Call in. Reach out to me if you want to come on. Because I get people messaging us after saying, like, you're wrong. Duh, you guys are dumb. But it's like, but what are we wrong about? Like, no one ever gives you, like, hard stats or whatever. Does that understand?
And that was one of the hallmarks of our show, is that we had people that said, no, you're wrong all the time. And then we have an open invitation. Come on. You don't even have to share your screen. You can just go on blank.
Yeah, because we just do the podcast part now anyway, for the most part. Come on. So we have had a couple people come on maybe. But then people are afraid. They're like, I might look like an idiot. I constantly look like an idiot. I don't care. I mean, anytime someone's talking and doing like a show for an hour, they're probably going to have a couple points where they just are wrong. That's just how it is.
And in case you haven't watched our show frequently, there's not a lot of over-editing. We say dumb stuff all the time. And
yeah, we run it live like a radio show. Because to me, that's like the best. I could sit here and do overdubs of like, oh, I said something wrong. Let me edit that out. And put in like a fact to make me sound like a robot. And we do. It's not like we don't do research. Like I bring in stats. We talk about TV ratings and stuff all the time. It's not like we're making stuff up. And if I have to, I'll look something up on the show if it randomly comes up. But in the summer right now, not a lot to talk about. Like they have the All-Star game for MLB, and it's sad. I know because the Braves are bad, and if you're a long-time listener, that's my team. I just don't really care anything like about the new baseball stuff. I just don't understand it, and that was my sport growing up. I watched like all the games. I played baseball at a high level, and maybe it's soured because like it doesn't work out right, like professionally. And some people were like, you know what, I kind of lose a little bit there. But no, when the Braves won the World Series, like I was pumped, not overly pumped. I did think during it, like, oh man, this would have been like my world if this happened like 10 years ago or 20 years ago. Now seeing them win, or like seeing the Celtics win. Like, great, but there's not a connection there. Like, the Michigan connection, to me, is higher right now just because of how many people will randomly reach out if Michigan loses. Some of the pro sports, like, it never really happens anymore. It feels like the trash talking with social media stuff has gone down for professional sports. But maybe that's just me. What do you think?
Yeah, I would say that.
I mean, if I trash talk someone for their team losing in the NFL, I usually get like a non-response where it's like, oh, well, you know what, like that just happened, we don't have the team or whatever, the salary cap's against us. It's like the most insane, like just non-defense. It's like not even fun to talk sports because it's kind of like, oh yeah, oh, it's great, like it's tough to beat Mahomes, you know, and it's like, oh yeah, that is true. Where now, with college, even with the paying, it's like, what, is your school broke? And then people take that personally, right? Which is insane because you're not paying for these players. Like, unless you're like some rich guy I'm talking trash to, you're really not making an impact at all, right? In NIL, like the common man. But some people are just so into it for college because like you go there, you have more of a connection. Some teams in the pros, like you can buy Brave stock, have a connection. But like, can I really call in? Like, I can vote against some of the stuff that they're doing. I guarantee everyone else is voting for it, and then they're like, why does our team suck? Right? Same with like the Packers or some of these teams. Like, there's just too many people that have like an ownership to really have a feel. Where I guess college, like, you're not really doing anything either. But a lot of people spent time and money going to a school and doing whatever. Maybe if I had season tickets again, like at a pro, and I never really had Steelers season tickets, but I've had like mini packages or whatever. You can go to a couple games a year. Moving away, that's kind of like deadened it for me. And maybe because the Steelers kind of suck now, right? It's like a different thing. But even when the Steelers win, I also think that a lot of your friends, like college, you have a better chance of having friends that all cheer for different teams, where a lot of people that I know, like, we all cheer for kind of the same pro team, so it's not as fun. It's more depressing. Like, team loses, everyone's sad. It's not like one guy's super happy talking trash. Because, like, even if, well, Connor Steins is back in the news, right? Someone, I think it was McMurphy, or one of the national news reporters recycled that story about Sonny Dykes bragging about changing his signals and how, like, hey, I'm the smart, like, kind of like the smartest guy in the room article, where, hey, I changed the signals and we beat that nasty Michigan team. And it's like, yeah, then you got throttled by Georgia. Why didn't you change the signals then? Right? Like, what is this article? It's just making you look like a loser coach. Right? You barely beat Michigan and you changed the signals. And then Connor Steins actually responded and said, look, we didn't lose because signals. I still knew all his signals. It's still the air raid. He's been using the same ones all the time. He said even if he changed them, which Connor Steins makes a great point, because I've been saying this the entire time. He could change them, but he's not going to mix them up because the athletes are not going to know. They're going to get confused, right? Like I play baseball. If a guy goes across his belt as a bunt 1 week, right? He's not going to change across the belt as like a take a strike, right? Because then someone on the team might be dumb and they're going to bunt. So you have to use an entirely new sign, right? Because otherwise that guy's going to be confused if you're changing signals all the time. And for the most part, like as a receiver, you only need to know your route tree. And so the quarterback's telling you, sometimes like when I play, they give you a number. So like the number could change. Like, hey, on this formation, whatever, you're running an out or an in. If it's odds, you're running out. If it's an even, you're running in. It's like it doesn't matter if it's a 7 he calls or a 1, whatever. You can kind of do it that way. You can do different like colors, or sometimes they do like the first letter of a word. I mean, you might know other variations like that because you're coach, right?
Yeah, and I've looked over the years at a lot of different styles. I mean, you had schools like the peak Auburn, Cam Newton years. I mean, those guys and Chad Morris's Clemson's teams, they would just yell the formation out. So, like, they didn't care if people knew what the formation was. And then they had signals for the play. And there were always multiple ways of sending plays in. But like Mike Leach, I think, kind of said it the best, that if you're playing with any kind of tempo, you're going to have the opposing team read your signal, interpret it, have the counter defensive call, relay it to the defense, make sure everyone's aligned, and then defend that play. Like, you're not playing fast enough if all of those things are being factored in. And, I take it a step further too, and definitely not to be defending Stallions or defending Michigan at this, but I just don't think that there's you gain that much of a competitive edge, because at the end of the day, to me, it boils down to, are my Jimmys better than your Joes? And if you have an undersized line and I have a bigger, stronger line, then I'm going to win. I'm going to wear you out, and it may not take place immediately, but by the end of the game, there's only so much 200 pounds is going to do against 350. Eventually, those bigger teams just wear you out, and that's why there's few and far between where you have those games that are upsets.
That's where I think, like going back to the TCU game, the 2 pick sixes were the game. That and the overturned touchdown. Michigan had a touchdown, they overturned it, and they put it at the 1, and Michigan fumbled and turned it over the next play. Michigan lost by like a touchdown or 6 points or whatever. If any of those don't happen, Michigan wins the game. So, like Stallion said, Michigan played bad, missed a bunch of tackles on those crossing routes, and had the 3 big turnovers. It was just an awful game. But that happens. So I'm on board. Like everything he says, like to me, from playing sports, I know that what he's saying is 100% the truth. And the media, what they're saying, doesn't make sense. Like that he needs dudes in the stands filming all these signals and like doing all this stuff. I can tell. How many other guys sitting on their couch at watch football every weekend can call plays out from their couch, right? Heck, I could sit there and call Michigan's plays out, especially when Harbaugh was the coach. Like, oh great, now they're gonna run Blake right up the middle here again. Oh, yep, 2-yard gain. Well, time to punt, right? Like everyone knows, like what based on the formation and the tendencies of the coach, you can make that guess, and that's where. Yeah, it's happening, but sometimes if a guy breaks it, like even in the national championship game, like Donovan Edwards, he was bottled up by Washington early in the game, and he broke it and just outran them because he was faster than them. That's it. That set the tone for the game. Like if you watch those games, he ran into a stacked line. I think both runs were the exact same, and he ended up breaking it out, and you could just see where he was just 2 steps faster than the Washington defense, and it was like, oh, gone. That touchdown. And so I bet if they watched those and they were just like, stay contained. Like, stay contained. We had him. We knew the play. Like, we knew he was going to run it up. That Harbaugh, a third down draw, yeah, perfect. That's exactly what he's going to do there, right? It's not like Michigan was like throwing some crazy thing to win these games. Even in overtime against Alabama, wasn't it just like a counter or something to Blake, and he bounced it with like a ridiculous bounce and ran 3 guys over? It wasn't like a sexy play. Same stuff. You got to have the line. And then on the defensive side, Mason Graham, I think, blew up that Alabama one play to make it like a super long, like third down, which then kept them away from the goal line for the 4th down where he got stuffed. Like breakthrough, the line play completely swung the game, and that's the same with Georgia. Like TCU could not stop Georgia. I think that was the year Blake was hurt, right? Like Michigan didn't have Blake in the TCU game. That's the difference. End of story. I said that a long time ago. Like him getting hurt, that he could have won the Heisman that year. Just because Donovan Edwards came out and crushed Ohio State. Awesome, yeah, but when the chips are down and you're throwing interceptions and you don't have your stud running back, it makes a difference. Signs or no signs. Like having your best player not play when go back and watch the Alabama game, Blake is the reason Michigan won that game. That's a big difference. One year you have them, national champs. The other year you don't, upset by TCU. Case closed to me, right? The year before they didn't have JJ playing. When Georgia beat them, they had Cade. So you have JJ and Blake, they're pretty unstoppable when they both play. That's all I'm saying. So signals or no signals, I don't know why Connor's saying this yet. Like, dude, just wait a few months till like whatever the NCAA does. Maybe he knows, because he was at the hearing, right? I'm sure he's not going to come out and say anything. But basically what he said is kind of the truth, and he's probably looking to get back into coaching. I'm assuming that's why he went to the thing. Now he's defending himself. Any coach that knows football is going to agree with him and say, like, all right, this guy still knows what he's talking about, right? I can give him a shot on my team. Like, I doubt Michigan's going to be able to hire him again right away. But if he loves Michigan that much, how many other coaches go to another job and then come back? Bobby Petrino, right? Then you go back to Louisville?
Yeah.
So Mac Brown came back to UNC. all it takes is time, and if they even give him a show clause penalty, the only thing that he did was what? He got suspended. I don't think he showed up at the original NCAA investigation because he said they were railroading him. That was when they suspended Harbaugh, right? So Connor's only been in the one investigation. He wasn't involved in the cheeseburger one, I don't think. It's just the sign stealing. And I just don't think, like, the fact that one other guy from the Big 12, I forget what school it was. Was it TCU? Or no, it wasn't TCU. It was Baylor, maybe? The guy that did the same thing as Stallions where he just got fined and maybe had a show cause, like, I just don't see anything else happening to him. Michigan suspended him. He didn't coach. He said in the in that response, like, I didn't even coach in the playoffs when they won the national championship. They didn't need me. Like, we literally didn't have a guy in my role, and they won the national championship. If that doesn't kill the argument from these writers, then what would? Right? It's not like Michigan has a bunch of Connor Steins on call. Like, all right, next guy in. like an army. That's what that original article said. Michigan had like a network of whatever, spies or whatever, which is insane, but that's college football. See, in NFL, when they had that happen with Spygate or whatever, everyone was just anti-Patriots and then nothing really happened from it, and then everyone's back to like normal. People made fun of Tom Brady, like, oh, you needed Spygate. He goes and wins the Super Bowl with the Bucs. No one brings up like Deflategate anymore for Tom Brady. Everyone just kind of assumes, oh, he is the best of all time. Right? Like, I never heard anyone say, like, if I bring up, hey, Tom Brady's the best, no one says, like, nah, he sucks, dude. It's like him winning with the Buccaneers was the best thing for his career that, like, no one else can, like, realize that him winning without Belichick. Because if Belichick would have left and Brady would have won another one with the Patriots with a different coach, I think the same thing would have happened. Much like if Belichick would have won another Super Bowl. Now that's why I think if he wins a national championship, look out. Because it could happen. Did you see the rumors from, was it McElroy, Saban's old quarterback, saying that he's heard that Saban's interested in coaching again?
That doesn't surprise me at all.
Do you think he'd coach in college, though, or the NFL?
I would say probably go back to the NFL, because essentially the system that, like, he was in with Belichick during that rebuild in '95 and has somewhat of a template. I think he was able to use the current system to build a powerhouse at Alabama. And when it became more contract type policies, when he got himself back out. So unless, I think for at least this year, if he can find that void filled through College Game Day and being on the set, where he can still be semi-involved with that, I think maybe he doesn't make the push to go back, but some of that, I think it's just ingrained in who you are and makes it a little bit more challenging to step away.
Well, I'll say this. Do you think that he heard that we were making fun of him for not winning in the NFL? And that's why he's coming back? Because we do know, one of our sources is a big Bama booster. I bet he told him, like, hey, the guys are making fun of you. They think you dye your hair. Because the stats are the stats, dude. He had the number one recruiting class for how many years in a row, and in all honesty, he didn't win as much as what he should have with that talent advantage. So I saw a lot of people saying, like, oh my gosh, he should go to like a MAC team or some small team to troll everyone and win a national championship. I thought, guys, he was struggling at Alabama with the most talent every year to win a national championship. He's not going to go win one at a small school, right?
Well,
I've been saying...
We'll use this as an example, because when you talk about programs that they're in a competitive conference, but they're not the big fish. Look at what his teams in Michigan State did. Like, he didn't win a national championship when he was coaching at Michigan State. He did it at LSU when they had that higher talent.
The thing is, did he even win a Big Ten championship at Michigan State?
I don't think. But I mean, like
I don't know. There could be a lot, but I think it was. I don't know what years he was there, but it was Ohio State, the Tim Biakabatuga years, right? And then Michigan won it. Of course, they won the national championship. So there could have been a Tom Brady year where maybe he snuck one in there, but I don't know. Like, I'm assuming it went back to Ohio State or Michigan, right? Like I just don't see him winning, and then he goes to LSU and they win one. Now, if he goes back to LSU again, maybe. I mean, the best would be if he went to West Virginia, right? Because he could have the hype. They don't really have the funds or whatever, but maybe he could get enough, like, just like friendly boosters, whatever, through his like connections to get recruits at West Virginia, enough to win the Big 12 however many years in a row. I mean, look at what BYU's been able to do there, right, in short time. I know Arizona State was able to turn it around pretty quick. So, to me, if it was me, if I was him and I was going to get back into coaching, that's what I would do. You got to be careful, though, because you don't want to do a Jimbo Fisher, right, and take like an A&M where you have every advantage in the world and then you shit the bed.
Yeah, but with that deal, with having family members that had sickness and they were going to cover like any and all medical stuff with that, like that kind of softened that a little bit.
Well, I'm just saying in terms of his legacy, though, like he didn't win enough. Like him leaving for the money or whatever, that's fine. But now no one in their right mind would consider him one of the greatest coaches. That's sort of like that.
Well, he won two.
To what? As a head coach? I thought he only won one.
He won one as head coach, but he was the OC at LSU with Saban or Les Miles.
Oh, Coach O has one as a head coach. Right?
There you go. No.
I mean, I was saying the same thing with Harbaugh. Like, Harbaugh won everywhere. He has one title. I think, like, that goes against, like, people saying, like, oh, he needed this elaborate cheating scandal to win. It's like, no, he's still winning in the NFL, dude. Like, he might not win the Super Bowl, but he's been winning, has a great winning percentage in the NFL. And that's the other knock on Saban. He doesn't. So now that you have guys that are able to win in the NFL, and I mean, if Harbaugh wins a Super Bowl, to me, he's already better than Saban. I honestly think Pete Carroll's better than Saban.
Well, and I think if with the connections that you have, I really think that for him to go to the NFL, he has to go to a team that has a GM that understands what he wants. Because like you look at, they always show that graphic of Washington, where they had Shanahan as the offensive coordinator, McDaniels, like every Sean McVay. There was like a star-studded offensive cast, and they did absolutely nothing. So there is something to that.
All he needs to do. Wait, how old is Andy Reid? Andy Reid retires. He goes to coach the Chiefs, and he wins the Super Bowl by default with Mahomes. Bang, bang, boom. I'm telling you, if I was Saban, that's what I would do. I would either go to West Virginia, go to the home school, and that way, if you don't win, you can play like the LeBron card, like, hey, I tried my best, guys. It's tough out here with NIL. You guys know I'm a winner, though, right? I won 2 national championships at 2 schools, and they're like, okay, good. But if he goes to win the Super Bowl, it doesn't matter, like, instantly. Because the 2-school thing gives him a heads up on some people, but the 2-league thing, to me, I still think Pete Carroll's like the best coach because of that in recent times. Some guys can win in the NFL. I mean, we've seen guys go to college, they don't win anything there. Right? Harbaugh would be the next one. If he can get it done, especially with Herbert and some of the Bolts players they have, they could win one, right? I wouldn't be surprised. And then to me, that would elevate him. I'd put him above Saban. Could Saban win at Stanford? No. Right? He didn't, like you said, he didn't win. He didn't win at Michigan State. Harbaugh's won everywhere he's gone. He might not have won a national championship there, but he won a BCS game. Saban, I don't think, won a BCS game at Michigan State. Right? He's only been there whenever he was able to like get more talent than other teams. That's why the NFL thing for me kind of ruins it. They can't say he's the greatest. He is the greatest BCS college football coach. Yeah. But in terms of, and I know people might hate me for saying this, but in terms of like building up a program, I still think what Paterno and Bobby Bowden did is way more impressive in college. They took both took a school that had no wins in anything and built them into powers still today. Well, Penn State's still going today. Florida State's not really doing anything, but they're there.
Shut up.
But don't you agree? Like, he went to win in Alabama. They already had Bear Bryant. Like, okay, awesome. Was he the first winning coach at LSU? Maybe. In recent times, right? I think they had that split title with Iowa in like the 50s, off the top of my head. So it wasn't like their first title. But then the fact that LSU's been able to keep it going, maybe they don't need him. I guess it depends too. Like, what's Alabama do after he leaves? Like, if DeBoer wins a national title this year, does it kind of soften the Saban legacy? Would that be enough to drive him back?
Well, you brought up about Paterno and Bowden. With Bowden's run, like his run in the early '90s throughout the '90s was kind of facing what the way Saban was, where a lot of those games, it wasn't, are they going to win? It's, how bad are they going to beat this team? And like the '99 team is considered one of the best teams because they're the only team that's ever gone wire to wire number one and never fell out of that top spot throughout the course of the year. So to build on that and to have it, not just the coaches that were leaving at the time, the players that were going on and getting drafted at the time, like to maintain that high level is, I mean, honestly, it's one of the reasons why I became a Florida State fan, because it didn't matter who was there. He was pulling in competitive athletes and they were playing a fun style football. It was fun to watch.
Well, that's where I say too, like Saban benefited from the playoffs and the post like BCS system and even the BCS to a certain point late in his thing where he didn't have a lot of undefeated teams. Like those 90 teams, like you had to go undefeated to even be in the conversation and have a split. And maybe some of the teams that like people railroad against, like 94 Penn State, like Paterno might have had more championships if they were given the chance, right? Like no one expected them to beat Miami in the 80s. That 94 team, I guarantee, would have beaten Nebraska. I think that Penn State 94 team is one of the best teams of all time. And for them to get robbed is just insane if you go back and look at that roster. And like what we know about Nebraska, that's why like I'm still on board where Nebraska really lucked out having the media in their pocket that didn't like the Big Ten, sort of like we have now. Where like I don't think Nebraska beats Michigan in 97. I don't think Nebraska beats, I think it was Nebraska in 94, right? I don't think they beat Penn State in 94. So, and I can say that with confidence because Nebraska can't even win the Big Ten West. So I don't care what old school football Nebraska was playing in the 90s, benefited from the system, much like Saban benefited from having a second chance and having the most talent in the college football. Like, how many second chances could Bowden have gotten, right, in the 90s? Like that rematch with Spurrier or whatever that one year, where they beat them first time, didn't they lose the second time, and they lost the Natty that year?
Yep.
That was because of the game. In the old system, they wouldn't have had to play him again, right? They would have both been in different bowls, and Florida State would have got the nod. That was like the bowl coalition, whatever thing that they made after that, and the Big Ten wasn't even in it, right? That was like the precursor to the BCS. That effectively ripped that one off Florida State and gave turn to like, okay, we could have rematches, and then I think that kind of made the Big Ten come around. I think that's why people always say like, well, Nebraska's the true champ, even though everyone considers like the AP the better bowl. So like Michigan winning it, I'm pretty sure that was like just a media pitch to try to get the Big Ten to kind of sign up for the BCS, which they did. And they haven't really been winning till recent times, but NIL lines up with that. And I'm still on board. Like, it's hard. Look at the data, how much more the Big Ten's putting in. They're saying that they could have a salary cap. That's not stopping NIL money. So I want to see at the end of this 10-year run, because I'm looking at team talent component right now, like rosters, and seeing how loaded like some of these Big Ten teams are, like Oregon and even Ohio State and Penn State coming back this year. I would not be surprised if the Big Ten wins another national championship. I have friends laughing at me for saying Penn State has a great shot because it's lining up for them like it lined up for Michigan. A senior quarterback made some mistakes in the playoff, comes back. All he needs is a little bit of confidence. They have one of the highest return rates of players. A lot of other schools like Georgia that have the talent, they're getting their quarterbacks. I know he goes injured back. They're getting him transferred away because of NIL money, right? So they're not able to keep these guys and stay loaded for 3 years anymore. It's going to be tough. Could be Texas. I've seen a lot of people, I don't know what happened at Texas camp or what's going on there, but I've seen Texas fall off the map. So Arch Manning might not be all that's advertised, Matt. That's why I haven't been bringing him up much for the Steelers. Not a lot of hype. It might just be name. We'll see. We will see, but I've seen Texas fall out of a lot of SEC predictions when they should have been in the same spot as kind of like a Penn State, just having Manning have to learn on the job. Right? I mean, there's no difference. You can't say, oh, Ohio State, they have a new quarterback. They'll be fine. They should be ranked like number 1 or number 2. When Texas has the same exact situation, they didn't lose as many people as Ohio State did, and they have a more hyped up quarterback in Arch Manning. There's no reason anyone should be ranking Ohio State ahead of Texas in my mind. Unless you really think Sarkisian's that bad of a coach and Ryan Day is that much better. So, that's my last thing for today. Crazy off-season show. If you want to give your opinion, call in, leave us a voicemail, whatever. Do it on Twitter or YouTube, whatever. Send me a clip. We'll play it. We'll figure out how to do it if you want. But thanks for listening. We appreciate the support. Always impressed by people downloading and listening to the show. So I do appreciate the rebuttals, especially that makes me think that you're listening to the whole thing. So, awesome. Anything else you want to add, Matt?
We're good.
All right. Well, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next week.